Black Friday is here in a world of tanks blitz. A lot of you probably saw my review on the WZ-114 SP2 earlier today, and let's be real, the majority of you aren't going to be getting your hands on this tank, at least for the first release. Maybe later, when Wargaming decides to put it in crates, more of you will get it, but as of right now, the $200 price tag that you're going to have to spend to get to the vehicle is a little ridiculous. Now, to be fair, you do get other tanks, plus you get some gold, so it's not like you're just getting the vehicle. You can actually get probably about 4-5 tier 10s, and you'll get a Chimera, a Sharfie Chair 4, and the 114. So it's not like it's a terrible deal if you don't own a lot of tanks. But for someone like me, who already has all the vehicles, yeah, it's just about $200 for me to get that tank. But in today's video, we are not going to be focusing on the 114 SP2. We are going to be talking about the Black Friday deals as a whole, and if any of them are worth it, what you should be spending your gold on, or should you be waiting for the Blitz Fair. So let's start off making our way to the gold tab. We can see all the tanks, and there's actually quite a few for sale. So let's start off with the first thing. So we got some black boxes. It starts from $2 and ranges all the way up to $120. Do not buy these black box bundles. They're not worth it. First of all, the coupons you get is only 500. If you compare that to just a flat gold bundle, you will be getting way more. You'll get 950 for $110. So if you're planning on spending, let's say $100 on this event, do not buy the black boxes. You might get a bit more gold, but it's not worth it when you can get guaranteed gold and at the same time double the coupons. We have a T28 HTC bundle and black boxes. This is actually an okay bundle. Not necessarily for the tickets, but the price tag of $12 for a fairly solid tier 7 tank destroyer, 25 times 5 boosters, which are only available for the HTC, I should point that out. But you also get some black boxes, so you'll get some gold. This isn't a terrible deal. It's not great, but it's not too bad. We also have 3 black boxes, 30 days of premium, 3,000 gold, 100 gold boosters. Buy this. If you have the money lying around and you don't mind spending $5-6 on Blitz, I would highly recommend to pick this up. The 3,000 gold, 100 gold boosters, and 30 days of premium alone are great. And the black boxes is going to give you like another, I don't know, 400 to 1,000 gold. So this is just a really good bundle in general, especially if you're trying to save money and budget Blitz. This is definitely what I would recommend to pick up. But now let's take a look at the tanks. This is obviously a super cheap bundle. I mean, it's $1. If you want it, get it. It's actually really good for $1 with the credits and everything, but yeah, it's nothing too special. So we're going to focus on the vehicles. There's a couple different offers that come out to me. The first one is the T95 E6. 13,000 gold for this vehicle is a steal. I'm going to be honest, it's just an absolute steal. The E6 is normally upwards of 17,000 to 18,000 gold, and it is easily worth upwards of 17,000 to 18,000 gold. It has gotten buffed once again in update 10.3, which has allowed the vehicle to just get more DPM, and it even has better mobility and combat stabilization. If you understand, and this is something I want to point out, just because I say it's a great tank doesn't mean it's great for everybody. If you are a fairly average player, it's probably not going to be a great vehicle for you, but if you're a little bit more skilled and you think you can take on the challenge of a lightly armored heavy, then I would highly recommend to pick that vehicle up for 13,000 gold. I would also say the VK90 for only 16,000 gold is not too bad of a deal. The vehicle also got buffed in 10.3. It's got a really solid gun, its lower plate got stronger, and it's just an absolutely amazing vehicle. I mean, a lot of you already know why the VK90 is so good, so 16k gold for that vehicle, not a bad deal. The Object 268 version 4, it's 17k gold. Normally, I think it's sold for like 22,000 gold. So I can't really say this is a great deal. It is cheaper than what it normally is. If you really want the V4, this is your opportunity to get it. Personally, I don't think it's that special of a tank. It's fun to play, especially on my EU account where I'm in the noob matchmaker, but for the majority of players, it's not as good as you think it is, and I would really only recommend it for newer players that don't understand angling because it's a pretty basic vehicle. So that's kind of my view on the V4. We have the Menacing Trio bundle. For $15, you get a T-34-3, WZ-111, and an Action 10. The Action 10 and 34-3 are pretty good. The 111 is just generic Soviet style heavy. It doesn't feature amazing armor, it's not great on mobility, and its accuracy is pretty dookie. So yeah, the 34-3 and Action 10 are pretty nice. If you picked up the STG, I can't really say the 34-3 is anything insane, though, because you basically have a more fun version of it already. And the Action 10, well, that's actually a really solid tank. I can't say this is a bad bundle. For 15 bucks, this is actually pretty good. Even if the tier 8s aren't amazing, it's still $5 a tier 8, plus they all come fully equipped. So, yeah, this is actually a pretty solid bundle, but the tanks aren't really that great, so I'm not going to fully recommend that. We have the WZ-114 for 11,000 gold. This is okay. The 114 is a solid vehicle, but it's not the most exciting tank, and I can't imagine the average player is going to love it too much. But 11k gold, not a bad deal for the vehicle, especially because this is the first time we've actually seen it come out for a fairly reasonable price tag. So yeah, I wouldn't say that's too bad at all. K91 for 10k gold, not bad, but I don't know. We've seen it go as low as $15, and right now, how much is 10,000 gold to pick up? Well, it's around $30. I just think that you should wait for the K91 to get cheaper, to be honest. I think it will get cheaper during the Blitz Fair or something like that. So that's kind of my views on the vehicle. I just can't really recommend to pick up the K91 for that much money. We have the AMX Proto. This is a 9,000 gold French premium medium. It's an incredible tank, great gun depression, solid mobility. It's just a really good vehicle overall, but 9,000 gold again. I've seen Wargaming release this vehicle for $15, and that's about $25 they're asking for the tank right there. I just don't think it's worth 9,000 gold. Don't get me wrong, it's a super solid vehicle, but I'd rather just pick up a 114 or even a K91 before I pick up the AMX-30, as they are, in my opinion, both better tanks for what you're getting. The HWK-30, 12,000 gold, get out of here. It's not worth 12k gold. It's an RU-251 with slightly different characteristics. It's not a bad tank, but it is definitely not worth 12,000 gold. I would say 6,000 gold is the maximum you should pay for this tank. Don't buy it. The AMX Alt Proto, 10,000 gold, get out of here. Don't get me wrong, it's a decent tank. It's got okay alpha, decent mobility, and even some troll armor, but it's not a great vehicle. I'd rate it a solid 7 out of 10, and that is just not high enough for 10,000 gold. Why is it being asked that much for a tier 8? I'd rather pick up a K91 or even a 114 again versus the freaking Alt Proto. So yeah, that's just an absolute waste of gold. Don't get the Alt Proto. It might be a rare vehicle. It doesn't mean it's worth it. We have the Type 57. This is 8,000 gold, and this is actually a fairly good deal. The Type 57 is basically, what if we made an Object 2.5 to you that has 9 degrees of gun depression? It hits hard with 430 damage per shot, it's got a decent gun, it's got okay mobility, and very solid armor, especially if you're using the gun depression. It's even got decent side scraping capabilities. 8,000 gold, I'd actually say, is just about what the tank's worth, so if you want a 252 with more gun depression, that's kind of the best option you've got there. We have the Emil 1951 at 8,000 gold as well, and it's just a really solid tank. I mean, the Emil one is better. So if you don't want to spend gold on a tank that the tech tree version is better of, I'd just suggest to not buy it. But it earns a lot of credits, it's decently mobile, and it's got an incredibly good gun in terms of penetration, something that the Emil 1 doesn't have. The major difference between this and the Emil 1 is that the Emil has much better turret armor, probably about 30 mils thicker. So yeah, I actually really like the 1951. I would say 8,000 gold is definitely a reasonable price for the tank. I would say that's not too bad at all. TS5, don't buy it. It's not worth 7,500 gold. It's worth about 5,000 gold. Centurion Mark 5.1, don't buy it. Wargaming gives this tank away for free just about every single year when you watch tournament streams, and I don't know. It's not a bad tank, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's got a solid gun, really good gun depression, it just got PBR, but it's just not that exciting of a vehicle. Like, you pick it up and you're like, wow, it's super fun, and then you play it for a while and you're like, it's not that exciting. I would much rather recommend to pick up a Skoda T27 over something being the Centurion 5.1. We have the T54 Mod 1, 7,000 gold, not worth it. It's worth about 5,000, 4,500 gold. I guarantee if this comes out in the Blitz Fair auctions, it'll be way cheaper. It's just not a great tank anymore. It's okay. I mean, its armor's still troll, and it's got a super solid turret, but it just doesn't have gun depression. It's not very fast. I just wouldn't really recommend buying it for that much gold. Skoda T27, really good deal. 6,000 gold, I would highly recommend to pick this up. If you don't have it, it is by far one of the most fun tier 8s in the game. For any of you that like spamming the TVP 5051 before it got nerfed, well, this is basically a tier 8 version of that. So if you want that 1.5 second intro clip and you want to absolutely demolish your opponents, yeah, the Skoda T27 is just amazing. LT432, 5,000 gold, not a bad deal. I actually think the vehicle vehicle is pretty underrated. It's a light tank. It reverses at 30 kilometers per hour, which is insane. It's got a high alpha, decent DPM, okay penetration, and it's even pretty troll armor. I think it's a fun tank. I don't think it's anything amazing, but it's fun. And for 5,000 gold, I can't say that's a bad deal at all. E25 for 4,000 gold, that's a pretty tricky one to answer. I mean, it's not a bad price, but I also wouldn't say it's a great price. 4,000 gold is just about pretty average. It's kind of an outdated vehicle. I'd rather play a Black Prince, to be completely honest, but if you want the E25, pick it up. We have the Titan HND. Just don't buy it. I mean, it's not a bad vehicle. It looks cool, but there's just literally nothing going for it. It's fairly slow. It actually is good pen, but unfortunately the accuracy kind of lets it down. And in terms of the armor, it's just really not that reliable, especially up against tier 8. So, I mean, 3,000 gold's real cheap, but that's about as good as I can say. Cromwell B, very good. For one reason, and that is Rammer Rig. I don't remember if it's, I think it's Mad Games, but maybe it's Uprising. I think it's Mad Games, though. You have the ability to use Rammer Rig on this vehicle, and it's absolutely busted with Rammer Rig, so it's a great way to earn credits and just get all of your crew skills trained. So I would definitely say Cromwell B for 2,000 gold, not a bad deal. Stritzfon 7482, fun little autoloader. The problem is the Tech Tree Skoda T25 is kind of just better. Not only does it feature more mobility, more gun depression, but it even has a faster injure clip. So not a bad take, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend to pick it up. So that's about all the offers there are. I mean, you can spend tickets on certain things. You got the WZ120 GFT draw, which we can see over here, which is actually pretty cool. I didn't even know these kind of existed, but yeah, so you can get the 120 GFT, and then there are other things that you can spend coupons on. If we make our way to the Black Friday tab, you can spend coupons on awesome containers, obviously the Chimera, you got just basic collect them all containers, black boxes. I would definitely say, let's say you have a couple hundred coupons, and let's say you don't have enough for the Chimera, get the awesome containers. These have a 10% drop chance for a vehicle, and as we can see, there are really good tanks in here, which is really solid. The black boxes are also a solid shout, but I wouldn't really recommend them that much. I would definitely say awesome containers, and then probably collect them alls, because, and obviously if you want like the XP or the certificates, these are okay, but those are what I would recommend. Either way, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. This is breaking into all of the Black Friday deals and discounts. Honestly, not as good as I was hoping. I think that a lot of these should be about 13-20% cheaper, but I do think that the tier 10s are actually quite inexpensive. The VK90 and T95 E6 are both fantastic deals, so I can't really complain fully. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.